Third thing is a matter of perspective. The perspective is to jump curves. Not to stay on the same stupid curve that you're on. Not to try to do things 10% better. When we were creating the Macintosh, we were not trying to make a slightly better Apple II or a slightly better MS-DOS machine. We were trying to jump to the next curve of personal computing. The greatest example of this occurs in the ice business. Ice 1.0. In the late 1800s, early 1900s, there was an ice harvesting business in the United States. This meant that Bubba and Junior, during winter, would go to a frozen lake or a pond, cut blocks of ice. 9 million pounds of ice was harvested in 1900. Their idea of innovation was bigger horse, more horses, bigger sleigh, sharper saw. But it was fundamentally wait for winter, live in a cold city, cut blocks of ice. 30 years later, we have Ice 2.0. Now we have the ice factory. Major technological breakthrough. It did not have to be winter. It did not have to be a cold city. You froze water centrally and delivered it via the Iceman in the ice truck. Imagine the breakthrough this was. No more limitations by climate, no more limitations by season. You could have an ice factory. 30 years go by, we have Ice 3.0, refrigerator curve. Now, it's not a matter of can you freeze water centrally, can you put it in a truck, can you deliver the ice to people. Now, everybody could have their own personal ice factory, a PC, if you will, a personal chiller. The very interesting story about all of these curves is that none of the organizations that were ice harvesters became ice factories, and ice factories did not become refrigerator companies, because most companies define themselves in terms of what they do, not the benefits they provide. If you define yourself as we cut blocks of ice out of lakes, you remain an ice harvester. If you define yourself as we freeze water centrally, you remain an ice factory. If you define yourself as we make a mechanical gadget called a refrigerator, then you stay on the refrigerator curve. Great innovation occurs when you get to the next curve, when you go from telephone to internet, when you go from daisy wheel printer to a laser printer to 3D printing. Great innovation occurs on the next curve. The fourth thing is to roll the dice.